Outstanding.
Please be seated and welcome to the annual Veterans Day Luncheon with our very own Chancellor. Before we get things started, I would like to just say thank you to all the faculty and staff, to General Bell for taking time out of his day to come share a few words with us. And I would also like to thank all the SVO members for making this happen, doing all the runaround that you guys did. It's very much appreciated. The man that I'm about to introduce, I would like to say a few words coming from the veteran population here at UTC. Dr. Engel, we would like to say thank you for all your efforts that you've done in order to make campus more veteran-friendly, for allowing the veterans to have their own space so they can decompress. It means the world to us to know that faculty and staff here at UTC care about their veterans. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our very own Chancellor, Dr. Engel.
Well, thank you. It's my honor to welcome you here, to say thank you to all of those who have served, and for taking time out to be here so that we can honor you. And this is important as an event. It's an event that even those that aren't here know the respect that this campus accords to our veterans and those who have served. And it's an opportunity to, I think, help instill a culture in this campus where we appreciate what all of you have done and the sacrifices that you've made. And we really appreciate it. I was in high school when the Vietnam draft stopped. I am not a veteran myself. So all I can do is say thank you for those of you that have taken the time. And it's an honor for us at UTC to be here. And I don't know if Gretchen Potts left or not, but she did. But isn't she wonderful with the national anthem? But she, at some of our basketball games, will sing the national anthem too. And it is such a great voice she has. So I want to thank, this is about what do I do. Sometimes it's listening to people, it's prioritizing things. our student development operation, which prioritizes veterans as a group of our students that are very important, and Joe Iram, who is an incredible leader, and during my time here, I've seen the student veterans organization step up. They have great respect on our campus. We listen to them. When we had a tragedy in Chattanooga with a shooting, it was our student veterans that helped us be respectful of how we honored the memory of those that passed. So we learn from you as well as you coming here to learn. So thank you to all of our student veterans and to or leader of that as our advisor, Joe Wyron. You do a great job. So thank you. I think is now lunch, and we will get back and have a program after lunch. So enjoy your lunch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to continue to enjoy your lunches. I'm just going to go ahead and keep things moving and introduce our next set of guests. With us today, we have a couple of veterans from a nonprofit organization that are based, or that were started in Nashville and founded in 2012, but these particular guys are based out of Chattanooga. And what they do is they pair professional songwriters with veterans, active military, and their families to help them tell their stories through song. So the veteran shares the story of their experiences serving their country, and these gentlemen help them turn that into a song. So with us today we have Matt Evans and Al Jarvis. Matt Evans is going to be the first gentleman to come up here. He is an Army veteran. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, Matt.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to be here to share our stories. Give you a little background so that you understand what the story is about. After I turn this on. Is it on now? There we go. For all those military people here, we all know about Jody coming in on the phone. Yeah. Okay. If you listen real close, you're going to hear a line thrown in there for the ex-wife there. Had to give that gut punch one more time. Good thing about Operation Song, one of the very first questions they ask you is, what style of music do you like? They don't just because they're from Nashville, they don't automatically go, okay, your song's going to be country song. You'll hear blues coming up after me. I'm bluegrass. We have country songs. We have rock songs. All genres of music. So if you want to learn more about Operation Song, how you can be a part of it, feel free to come up and talk to myself or Al after the festivities today, and we'll share everything we know. It's a great organization. I've been here, road tramping, as they charge to this dam. Bullets fly, bombs exploding, as my boots hit the ground. With a prayer on my lips and a weapon in my hand, as my finger pulls the trigger in my sights, my fellow man. Now it's 2 in the morning and I'm home Now I'm going to have my partner come up here, Mr. Al Jarvis is his name. He's a Air Force veteran.
Like Matt said, I was in the Air Force. I joined the Air Force in 1968. I was going to be an electrical engineer. So the recruiter told me, that's not a problem, we'll put you in our missile division. So to make a long story short, I wound up in North Country, Thailand, just south of the ocean border as a Chinese translator. Not sure how that worked out. I was there for about 16, 18 months. And then I went to Eastern Europe as a German translator. My job in both of those tours was to listen. That was my whole job, was just to listen. And the song that I wrote is called Voices. My job was, like I said, to listen and find out the secrets, find out enemy movements, troop movements, etc., to relay that information to the proper people so they can keep our soldiers out of harm's way. This is kind of a blues song. I wore a headset, listening to voices night and day, searching for their secrets, recording every word they had to say. Now it's been 40 years and then some, and the voices get louder every day. Sometimes I can't stop crying. There's no hiding from the truth. I hear them whispering in the night, and the guilt just tears me in two. Why could you stop the voices? I know I could be a better man for you. I listened to a man. I followed him for days and days. I learned about his family, where he worked and where they played. Now God, please forgive me. I helped to send him to his grave. Now they seem like honest people, simple folk like me and you. The girls, they go to dance, their boys go to ball games too. Now I hope the Lord forgives us for what we had to do. Sometimes I can't stop crying. There's no hiding from the truth. I hear them whispering in the night, and the guilt just tears me in two. Why could you stop the voices? I know I could be a better man for you. Sometimes I can't stop crying. There's no hiding from the truth. friend. I know I could be a better man for you.
Let's give Matthew and Al another round of applause. It's really special when you put yourself in the music and it comes through. So thank you so much. So I have the honor of introducing our speaker today. One of probably our most accomplished alumni, coming from the University of Chattanooga, and which we claim each and every one of those alums. But General Burwell B.B. Bell. After graduating from the University of Chattanooga in 1969, he served with distinction for 39 years in the U.S. Armed Forces. Distinction understates his accomplishments and what he did greatly. And I'm going to describe some of these things, but General Bell as a person of integrity, of high standards, of someone that you talk to and feel like, well, I talked to somebody who really mattered. That's the kind of person he is, and I can see why he went so far in the military and has been such an effective leader. That his career is a testament to his extraordinary abilities, and his assignments have spanned the entire world, from the United States, Europe, Middle East, and Korea. In the early 1990s, he served as General Norman Schwarzkopf's executive officer in Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. A few years later, he was awarded the position of Chief of Staff during the Operation Joint Endeavor, an effort to bring peace to the Balkans and southeastern Europe. He served as the Chief of Staff for the U.S. Army Europe and the 7th Army, the same army led by General George S. Patton during World War II. At one point, he held 2 jobs at the same time, commanding the Army's Armory Center at Fort Benning, Georgia, and serving as commanding officer at Fort Knox, Kentucky. General Bell has not slowed down since retiring in 2008 as a 4-star general. He serves as senior mentor for the Department of Defense, a fellow with the combined Korean-U.S. Veterans Association, and an advisory trustee for the National Medal of Honor Museum of Military History. He's won more than 25 commendations, including the Bronze Star, the Army Distinguished Service Medal. He holds 3 honorary doctoral degrees and writes and speaks on U.S. security policy and issues. He has served his alma mater. He was on the University of Chattanooga Foundation until this past year. I found out he was the sports editor for the Moccasin during his time as a student here, our yearbook, and has a picture with Scrappy Moore on Chamberlain Field. Through 32 moves in 39 years, his wife and college sweetheart, Katie, have remained together, and some might say she deserves a medal too, but that's a lot of traveling, a lot of commitment and dedication. It's an honor to present General Burwell B.B. Bell as our speaker tonight.
look, you gotta have a speaker, right? You can't have a program without a speaker. It's just the rule. It's not good, but it is what it is. Matthew and Al, we'd be a lot better shape probably if you just came up here and played for them 10, 15 minutes. I sit back down, but I will check this block. And it's an honor for me. It's more than checking a block. And I mean that sincerely. I want to thank all of you for being here. It's a great commitment. And for giving me the opportunity to say just a few words today. You know, it was here, as the Chancellor well stated, at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. And I'll date myself big time by admitting I went to the University of Chattanooga. If you do the math on that, you can wonder why I'm still standing around up here. But it was here indeed at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga that any potential I may have had, because coming out of high school, I didn't show a heck of a lot, I will be honest with you. But any potential I may have had, it was shaped, it was honed, it was molded, and partially refined. I was pretty unrefined then, as I am now. As I stuck my head out of this academic door and headed off into what would be my future, as many of you all are getting ready to do. So this place for me is home. It's good to be home and to live in my home after roaming around the world a couple of times for a few years. It's especially good to be here with veterans of the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Chancellor, I do want to thank you publicly today, as many have, and rightfully so, for so well supporting these veterans programs, our veterans here on campus, and and helping them unlock their potential. You're and your team, and you have a big team of folks that help you. Joe, being a principal one, are making a positive difference here in the lives of veterans. And that, I wouldn't say it's not true that it's not always been the case. I think in this area of the country, for sure, people have always respected and appreciated veteran service. But it's especially seen now by many of us and greatly, greatly appreciated. So thank you very, very much. And to the SBO, I want to thank you for continuing the Sergeant Stevens Memorial Scholarships, which we'll hear about and see a bit about here in just a minute. You not only memorialize Sergeant Stevens' service, but you help deserving students to achieve their goals. And this is a good thing. And it's a way to give of yourselves and of your potential, so thank you. It would have been Sergeant Stevens' dream for this to happen, and you're seeing to his dream, and it's important, thank you. You know, here at UTC, I speak through and beyond these walls, the vast majority of students, faculty, and staff, that would be the ones that you represent right here today, the vast majority of them understand deeply the freedoms and opportunities established in our Constitution and defended since the Revolution by those who were willing to stand and serve. Each of you well knows, I might also add, what those symbols are that we hold so dear, that speak to our Constitution. They're the American flag, right here. Old Glory, as many people refer to it. It's our national anthem, and it's our Pledge of Allegiance. For everyone here, I want you to know, please know that on the eve of the actual calendar Veterans Day, that veterans look to these symbols. I mean, we have to have something to grab hold of. We look to these symbols as the hallmarks of freedom, deserving the universal respect and admiration of all Americans. We do not believe that these symbols should be part of any other agenda, regardless of how meritorious that agenda might be. To veterans, our flag and our anthem have a sacred context, as only veterans sign up, knowing that the contract authorizes their country to send them in battle to die for their freedoms. Untold scores of Americans have sacrificed their lives to meet that pledge. This is serious business. And these symbols are important to us. Sadly, and I'll go on the negative for just a minute, some of folks in America today no longer see these symbols, our flag, our anthem, and in some cases even our military, the same way that you do. Many in America, and I say the Word many, hoping that it's not too many. But many in America no longer well up with pride when the colors are posted as they were today, or when Old Glory passes by, for example, in a parade, or when you walk by or drive by a flag mast where Old Glory is proudly waving in the breeze. We see this American state played out in the news almost every day. We're bludgeoned by it. And indeed, it's even brought to us when those of us who attend church come home after church on Sunday afternoon to relax and watch an NFL game, only to find out what we interpret as symbolic disdain for the Stars and Stripes and the national anthem. And I remind you that that's our view, certainly my view. And while the meritorious nature of the arguments at hand are definitely something that must be addressed, not at the expense of our symbols, which means so much to us. So I'll leave that at that. But today, I want to say that while I try to stumble around with these words and tell you what Veterans Day means to me on behalf of veterans, I can't do it anywhere near like Master Sergeant Roy Benavides can do it. Let me share you his story real quick. And I think what Roy says to us, and you're going to see that in just a second, says tons about America today. Roy was born in 1935 near Cuero, Texas. He was the son of a Mexican farmer and a Native American mother. Perfect. And I mean that. When he was a youngster, both his mom and dad died of tuberculosis. They worked hard as farmers and they passed away. He was raised by his uncle. Roy was poor. Didn't have a lot of benefits. Roy shined shoes at the local bus station, labored on those farms as a kid, and he worked in a tire shop. He enlisted in the Texas Army National Guard in 1952 during the Korean War, and in 55 he switched to the active military, to the active army. On May 2nd, 1968, near Loc Ninh, South Vietnam, a 12-man Army Special Forces patrol was surrounded by a North Vietnamese infantry battalion estimated of about 1,000 men. Benavides heard the radio call for help from his buddies who were surrounded, and he jumped into a helicopter at an airstrip that was responding. Armed only with a knife, he left from the helicopter and ran to help the trapped patrol. As stated in his Medal of Honor citation, Benavides, and I quote, distinguished himself by a series of daring and extraordinary valorous actions. And because of his gallant choice to join voluntarily his comrades who were in critical straits, to expose himself constantly to withering enemy fire, and his refusal to be stopped despite numerous severe wounds, saved the lives of at least 8 men. The battle left Benavides with 7 major gunshot wounds, 28 shrapnel holes in his body, and both his arms were slashed to the bone by an enemy bayonet. Ultimately, for his gallantry in action, he was awarded the Medal of Honor by President Reagan. Master Sergeant Roy Benavides retired from the military in 1976 and spent the remaining years of his life teaching and educating young men and women on campuses and in schools and wherever he could find them about the merits of America, while frequently speaking about our flag, what it means to veterans, and about our American way of life. I want you to listen to the words of Medal of Honor recipient Master Sergeant Benavides in a speech that he gave to a group in Cleveland, Ohio in 1991, 5 years before he passed away. And as you listen to his words, there are 4 minutes, as I cut and pasted, I hope. I don't know, somebody cut and pasted. It's a longer speech. But please think about our nation today, the United States of America today, our flag and our way of life. Now, it's not a big screen or whatever, so, I hope the volume is okay where you can hear. But listen to this great American and what he's got to say about his country. Could you begin the tape, please? Thank you.
There's a saying among the veterans. that it is those that have fought for it, that life has a special flavor that the protector will never know. You have never lived till your own time. And it is us veterans, especially the wounded, that pray for peace most of all, because we have to suffer the wounds of war. And in conclusion, let me tell you a poem that I promised this lady. She's the grandmother and mother of all of us soldiers. This lady is the greatest of all. She's a nun. And the poem was given to her by a veteran, and she wanted me to recite this poem everywhere I go. And the poem goes like this. Hello, remember me? Some people call me Old Glory. Others call me the Star Spangled Banner. But whatever they call me, I'm your flag. The flag of the United States of America. Something has been bothering me, so I thought I'd talk it over with you because it's about me and you. Not too long ago, people were lined up on both sides of the street to see a parade go by. Actually, I was leading that parade, proudly waving in the breeze. And when your daddy saw me coming, he would immediately remove his hat and place it over his left shoulder so his right hand would be over his heart. And you were standing there, right next to your dad. You didn't have a hat. And your little sister, not to be outdone, was standing right next to you. Both of you had your right hand over your heart. What has happened now? I don't feel as far as I used to. I'm still the same flag. I see children around playing, shouting. They don't seem to know or care who I am or what I stand for. I saw an elderly gentleman took his hat off. But when he saw others with theirs on, he turned around and slowly walked away. Hey, I'm still the same old flag. A few stars have been added to those parades long ago. A lot of blood has been shed. Is it a sin to be patriotic anymore? Have you forgotten who I am, what I stand for, and where I've been? Anfield, Guadalcanal, Korea, and Vietnam. Take a good look one of these days at the memorial on Rome. Of all the names of all those that never came back, they gave their life for this great nation to be free under God. When you salute me, you salute each and every one of them. Well, it won't be long now, and I'll be coming down the street, leading the parade, and proudly waving the wreath. So when you see me coming, stand up straight and salute. And I salute you by waving back. And then I know that you remember. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a beautiful one. And you remember back in the 60s when they were burning the flag, when the guys were wearing this flag in the seat of the pants, when they were burning the drag quad taking off the panel. I find those guys whenever I say this one. And now they come up to me and they ask me for forgiveness. And you know what I ask them? Because of you, I ask them, how does it feel to enjoy freedom at the expense of my buddy's life?
I'm sorry we had a digit challenge there, but nonetheless, I hope that you got this great Medal of Honor recipient's message about our country during the Vietnam era, post-Vietnam, and when he gave this speech in '91. You know, it's 2017 today, I guess. I got the date pretty close. Tomorrow is Veterans Day for sure. A lot has changed since Master Sergeant Roy Benavidez recited that poem and made those comments back in 1991. It's on YouTube if you want to see it a little clearer. But much, way too much in our country today seems to be the same. For me, personally, his words scream from the grave, even louder than they did in 1991 when he addressed that audience. Can you all hear him screaming and crying from his grave? I can. So, I want to thank you all, because you're the wrong audience to admonish, and I'm not. I want to thank you for not being one of those who shames our symbols of our veterans, particularly on this, our Veterans Day. You all hold the key to the future of America. You do. Indeed, you are all America's future. I don't care how old you are or how young you are. You represent today's, tomorrow's, blood, sweat, and tears that are going to be necessary to ensure that that flag, to my right, forever proudly flies over the land of the free and the home of the brave. And for those of you who are parents, I thank you for teaching your children, taking the time to teach them to love and respect Old Glory. Wherever I say she waves, maybe that's not right this day and age. Somehow the flag is not an it to me. So she is what I say, and if you want to say he or whatever, it's okay. But wherever that flag flies, or whenever she passes by, you all are America. May God bless you for that each and every day. And I pray that God will continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you all so much for coming. And thank you for being great supporters of our veterans. And if you leave here today doing that as you run into other people proudly, without hesitation, it'll spread throughout the land as it has over the centuries. Thank you all very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for being here. What we're about to do is we're going to be making the presentation of the Sergeant Stevens Memorial Scholarship. The Army veteran who is a student here at UTC. I'll make my way to the mic.
Student here at UTC, Barbara Musgrave. I want you to know a little bit about the Sergeant Stevens Memorial Scholarship before we make this presentation. That the Student Veterans Organization, when they developed and started around 2012, turns out I was a graduate student at the time as well as faculty, so I joined the organization as a student myself. They created a scholarship because they were very philanthropic, this group, under the name of this young man, Sergeant David Alex Stevens, who graduated from UTC in 2002 in abnormal psychology degree path. And then after leaving UTC, entered into the Army as an airborne medic with the 82nd Airborne, and then was deployed in Afghanistan, and then after that was killed by an explosive device, leaving his young daughter, who I believe she was barely a year old when he passed away, his wife who was in the Army at the time, as well as having a family of military members. There was a sister, which is a West Point cadet herself and an officer in the military, his brother-in-law, as well as father and father-in-law Vietnam-era veterans. The Student Veterans Organization created this scholarship in his name to honor him, honor a fallen hero of UTC, a very unique scholarship in the fact it is a scholarship created by UTC veterans in the name of a UTC hero to support UTC veterans as they go to school here. So when the student veterans put this together, they struggled with trying to get the amount of money to endow it. A lot of type of 5K races and fundraisers. I do specifically want to thank Dr. Brian Rowland and Paul Clark from the UC Foundation. They stepped up and helped us to finish getting the endowment so we could give our scholarship. Last year, Army veteran David Towery, who is here today, was our first recipient, and we actually had Sergeant Stevens' family here last year to be able to see the first recipient of the scholarship, as well as the founding members of the SVO who created the scholarship. We're here present for this. So today we're going to be presenting the second Sergeant Alex Stevens Scholarship to Army veteran Barbara Musgrave, along with the, go ahead, thank you, go ahead, applause.
So along with the scholarship monies, some small tokens of our appreciation of her service and being a part of the UTC. This is the Veteran Honor Cord that this red, white, and blue tassel cord designates or signifies of a veteran who is graduating from the institution that you'll be able to wear on graduation day, as well as that they have a Army stole that she will wear while walking during the ceremony, which allows for people to recognize her as an Army veteran. And what's so cool is Army colors are school colors, blue and gold. As well as the first minting of the UTC Veterans Challenge coin. I'm going to fill your hands up. And yes, hold that so I can shake your hand. Thank you. And if you have anything to say. Okay, thank you very much. One more thing I'd like to say, I've gotten some recognition from some very distinguished people up here, General Bell and Chancellor Engel. Thank you for being here and supporting this. I want to say, however, the entire process and program that we've done for the transition of our military members on this campus is a team effort. Sequoia Holmes, the school certified official, is the most important person to the veteran because she makes sure they get paid, that this VA does what they're supposed to do to support them financially. The Dean of Students Office, Student Development, we all are part of a team effort to make sure that the men and women who serve in our military are successfully academically and go on to new vocations and new lives. So now what I'd like to do is to introduce Vice Chancellor Dee Dee Anderson.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for all of you that attended today. Before we leave, I would like to ask all of our veterans in the audience to please stand. You'll stand. And the rest of you will please acknowledge them. Thank you. Today and tomorrow throughout the country, we will gather to remember, to honor, and to pay gratitude for those who served our country. This is a celebration that provides us with an opportunity to reflect on our sacrifices, to reflect on their sacrifices and services that people on our campus and in our community have made for us. They do this to provide us with the freedom and privileges that we have as an American. So I encourage you and I challenge each of you to use these freedoms and these privileges to give back to others, to work hard in your academic pursuits, and to become engaged in your communities. Thank you once again for attending and enjoy your day. Thank you.